Like the offer was gone like that. Baking, I was crying, I didn't eat, I didn't sleep. I felt like there was a lot of pressure. I had to set an example, and I feel like there was this pressure to do it right. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shanika. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you so much. I make all things content about nursing, lifestyle, beauty. So today I have a video for you guys. I will be doing a get ready with me, and I'll be sharing with you my experience and how I decided to become a nurse. So look, what made me go into nursing? What was my path? What was my story? I feel like everyone has a interesting story. Some people have really unique stories, and I just want to share mine. Got my tea with me. For me, in my mind, my channel is for young people who are trying to, figure out what they want to do, if they're considering nursing and they want to get more information. Especially, I feel like I wanted to be a resource for, those young high schoolers that kind of have doubts and don't really know. Back in the day, there wasn't much videos, there wasn't much resources out there. Vlogs, there wasn't really like vlogs to say like, oh, day in the life of a nurse, and what does a typical day in the life look like. That didn't exist. I remember like grade 11 could drill it in you that you should be trying to look at what university you want to go to, what college you want to go to, what career path you want to do. They really start drilling that in you from grade 11. I had no idea. Versus some of my other friends, like they had more of a very clear path. Like they had an idea. They spoke very highly about certain careers, and they sound very sure of themselves. Versus me, I was very unsure. I had no clue. I also want to say that like I have no family members that are nurses. I don't really have, at the time I didn't have any family members that were registered nurses, or I didn't have any family members that were doctors. I didn't really have anybody to look up to, so to speak. Only person that I had was my mom. She is a PSW, which that's basically a personal support worker, and it's equivalent to like a CNA in the States, I think. I always equated nursing to be what she was doing. I was wrong, obviously, but I always thought that, because remember, I didn't really have any other like role models, and I didn't really have any other references, that what she was doing, PSW work, was the work of a nurse. Like I literally thought they were the same thing. And so in my mind, I did not even consider it. I got good grades. I participated in like activities at school. I was a cheerleader. I was doing like leadership stuff at one point. Science was one of my favorite subjects, and I did really well in science. Okay. So naturally, I was drawn to science. So really, I was looking at science programs. I was also good at math. Like, if I applied myself and I studied really hard, like math wasn't something that like I love, that came super easy to me, but it was something that I had to work really hard for. Like, I had to study for hours and hours. Like literally, as soon as I got home, studied until like, I don't know, like midnight. I was really like hard on myself. In a class with a lot of my friends were good in math. They were like AP math students, or they were like academic math students. So they were good at math, so I was gonna be good at math. Like, you were like the product of your environment. So, and we were always like sharing notes, studying with each other, stuff like that. So math for me, like, I did really well in, because I applied in. I wasn't like 90s, but I was like definitely 80s. A lot of my friends already knew kind of what they wanted to do. Like one of the popular things was business. Like a lot of my friends were speaking about business and becoming like business majors and going to business school, and it just sounded so glamorous. Like it just sounded so like, oh wow, like maybe I'd be able to create my own business. Like in terms of my day-to-day life, what would it look like? I would literally imagine myself wearing like a pencil skirt and like a blazer and going into work and looking all nice and polished. Like people around me were thinking about going into business, it just felt like a smart thing to do. I don't know, it just became, somehow it became in my mind, I'm gonna go into business, I'm gonna apply to business school. Okay, I didn't just apply to any business school, I applied to Schulich, which is one of the most prestigious business schools, I think, in Ontario. At the time, it was regarded as one of the most prestigious business schools in Ontario. They only accepted, I think it was like 50 students a year. Like, the class sizes are very small, it's very like exclusive, and you have to have good grades to get in, right? So I think like this prestige that was attached to that school is also what made me want to like apply and be a part of that. Like, I was just like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it big. At this point, I did take a business course, like it was very intro to business, it wasn't anything serious in my school, but yeah, like at this point I was seriously considering business, and so I applied. And this school required an interview, it required like obviously my grades to be, I think my grades had to be like in the 90s, like my average needed to be 90 or higher in order to get in. Obviously very prestigious, they had very specific requirements. I remember grade 12 working really hard, like studying so much, and had all this pressure on me because I felt like literally there wasn't any one way that like I felt really at this point very lost. Like, I didn't really know which direction I was gonna go in. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but regardless of what I was gonna do, I was gonna work hard and to keep all my options open, meaning I was gonna do well in all my classes so that if I do get accepted to business school, I have that option, and I still apply to all like science programs so that I have that option as well. I applied to U of T for their general life science program. Last choice, I think I had 4 choices, I don't remember. I think I put like business, my first 2 were business, probably like Schulich, then I did like Western Ivy League business school. I put 2 other science programs, like I think I evened it out like that, and one of them was U of T for like a general life science program, just threw that in there. The year goes on, and at this point too, like I said, I was working really hard to keep my grades up. I was also in night school for, like I said, I didn't have any clue, like no clue about what I wanted to do. Like, I still felt so unsure of myself. Like, it gave me anxiety to the point where I couldn't sleep. I had so many sleepless nights. I had like so much anxiety, felt like so much pressure, because there's a lot of factors, but being the oldest, one of the oldest siblings in my family, like I felt like there was a lot of pressure, and being like one of the oldest girls, I had to set an example, and I feel like there was this pressure to do it right, and you all want to be successful, you don't want to fail. So like, I didn't know which path to go on. Like, I felt so lost. But one thing about me is, even if I'm lost, I'm still going to keep my options open. So I went to night school. Mind you, on top of doing like all these my regular courses in school, I took night school to do physics. Was it physics? No, sorry, not to do physics, to do chemistry. I did chemistry because in my mind, I'm like, what if down the road I don't want to do business? Like, what if down the road, like, I wanted to do something sciencey? What if I wanted to go back to school and do nursing? Or like, I was like, what am I going to do if I all of a sudden need this grade 12 chemistry and I don't have it in my back pocket because I didn't take it in high school? Then I'm going to have to go all the way back to high school while I already graduated. And then as like a mature student, I'm gonna have to do night school as a mature student, and I didn't want to do that. So I've always been an overachiever and pushed myself, and like, I wanted to keep my options open, so I did the most, and I took the night school because I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna, like, I just want to keep my options open. That's pretty much it. You know, a lot of people were enjoying their grade 12 year. I remember my grade 12 year just being always anxious and always just like studying, anxious and thinking about the future, okay, because the future was so unclear. So let's fast forward to like, maybe it was like January time when I started to get like responses back and out early acceptances for Schulich, and I think this was in January. I actually don't remember. Like, I think Schulich had sent me an early acceptance, and I was like, huh? Like, they accepted me into their program. At this point, like, you know how when I think you finish, I think in your second semester by the midterm, you kind of have like an idea of like your standing. So they can use that to calculate your average and see where you stand. So I think at that point, they calculated my average. My average was like 90. Like, my average of all my courses were 90. So then they sent me an acceptance, and something in me was like, I don't know if I should take it. Something just, I don't know how to explain it. I thought about it for a few days. I talked about it with my family, and every single time I thought about it, the anxiety started, the anxiousness started, the tears started, the feeling like unsure, not knowing what to do, like, started. Like, it was just very uncomfortable feeling. It wasn't a happy feeling like, oh my god, I know I meant to do this. Also, I need to even go back and tell you at this point, like, because like what you guys don't even understand is that something I left out is I never, throughout the first 2 years of high school, never thought about going into business. That wasn't even a thought. It was literally until I got into grade 12 and I feel like I started seeing my other peers applying, talking about going to business school. It seemed like they had their lives figured out. They seemed like it had all these benefits and all these perks, and it seemed almost like a dream. So it seemed like, oh, I should strive for that. Like, you know. And so I at this point did everything I could think of to try to make myself stand out and fit into that mold. Meaning, like I said, I worked extra hard in math. I started to do extracurricular activities outside of school that were business related. I remember I signed up a business mentorship program that I signed up for students that were interested in business, and they got paired up with like a buddy, and they were able to like talk and like over over Zoom call or Skype. I think it was through Skype, and like kind of have like a mentorship. And so I did that. And then there was also like another business program that was actually held on the campus at Schulich for students that were interested. And it was, and like they would do like workshops, kind of talk about like business and all these things. And I remember I would like literally dress up in like pantsuits and like blazers, and I would go to these events thinking that, okay, like, this is probably where I'm meant to be, or like maybe I'll figure out after going to all these things if I'd like it. When it came down to making the actual decision, I couldn't. There was just something inside of me that felt like this did not feel right. I don't know how else to explain it, but that's how I felt. So I remember clicking onto that website where you can accept your offer, like the website where you see the offer. I think it's like ontariouniversities.ca or whatever. I remember clicking onto that one night, or I clicked reject. Mind you, I got an early offer. Like, this was earlier. This wasn't the second round of offers. This was the first offer. The moment after I clicked that, I was in shambles. I was so distressed. So, like, I was in tears, overwhelmed, because I was like, did I make the right decision? Did I just do a spirit in the moment type of move? I had worked so hard all year. In the spirit of the moment, I just clicked no. Offer was gone like that. Shaking. I was shaking. I was crying. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep for the whole day. It was probably one of the hardest things that I did in that year. Put so much pressure on myself. I didn't give myself grace, and it was a hard decision to say no. After speaking to like my parents about it, they're like, you're gonna be okay. No matter what, you will be good. And that helped me, but I still was so anxious. And I remember that whole week I would go to school and I would be in tears, like at school. I would like be walking in the hall and like I'd see one of my friends and I'd like break down and I'd like tell her what happened, and she's like, listen, you're gonna burn out. One night, you know, like in night school you have like I think a 30-minute break or something. Like this guy was like, they were talking about asked me like, oh, what school did you accept? Like we were talking about like what school we're going to, what school we're gonna accept, yada yada yada. And I told him that like, look, like I didn't even know him. Like it was literally like a random person that I had a conversation with, not a friend or anything. And I told him like I turned down Schulich. And he's like, what? You turned down Schulich? You're crazy. You are mad. Like all these things. And I remember after that night feeling like shit. Like feeling like maybe he's right. Maybe I did turn down like a really good opportunity. Maybe I'm stupid. So I was just going through it. Okay. I remember like feeling like, okay, like maybe I regret choosing, like not accepting them. Maybe I regret like not choosing the most prestigious school that I just got into. And I was like, maybe I need to like, so I remember going to my teacher and like crying and saying like, you like kind of like, you have to give me like a higher mark because I need to try to get back into this school. Like I was trying to reverse it. Also, like I had another teacher that I spoke to, and she was like so sweet, and she was like, Shanika, you'll be okay. No matter what, you'll be okay. And like I said, what I ended up doing is I ended up just accepting U of T Scarborough for their health science program, because to like I said, I don't know what it was. Something was just calling me that like I wouldn't be interested. I wouldn't be happy with the business program. Like I don't know what it was, but something was telling me like, you need to stick to the sciences. That's what you know and that's what you love. And that's what I did. I may or may not do a part 2 to this because I feel like this video is getting very, very long.